So we have implemented pagination and filtering, but there is a tiny issue in the output of our movies component. See what's going on here. We have these two divs, which we use to implement a grid layout. Here in the left column, we have a list group. That's a custom component we have built. In the right column, we have a message. Below that, we have a table with all these details. And then after that, we have the pagination component. The issue we have here is mixed levels of abstraction. So here we have components that are high level or simplified or abstract, like pagination and list group. But we have elements like this table that is low level. It's too detailed. So we don't have symmetry or consistency in our code. So the first thing I want to do now is to extract a new component, let's call it movies table, and move all these details about rendering this table inside of that component. So here in the components folder, I'm going to add a new file, movies table.jsx. Note that this is not under the common folder because it's not a reusable component. It's purely the table of movies that we have on the movies page. Now in the future, we're going to refactor this code step by step and eventually extract a reusable table component. But for now, let's not worry about it. So here on the top, let's import React and create a functional component. Again, in this case, I really don't think we need local state in this component. So I'm going to start with a functional component. We can always promote this function to a class later if we really need to. So let's call this movies table. We pass the props object here. Now back in our movies component, let's select all this table markup, cut it, and paste it right here. All right, now we need to make a few small changes here. So first, we don't have movies. We need to get it from our props object. So as a convention, I would like to do my object destructuring at the beginning of every functional component. With this, we can get an idea of what the interface of this component looks like. So let's pick movies from props. Good. Now, what else do we need to change here? Let's take a look. So here we have these two handlers, onClick for the like button and the delete button. Since we're passing movies via props, we are not supposed to modify the props. So the actual state is stored in the movies component. So here we should raise an event and let the movies component delete or like a given movie. So here on the top, we should pick a couple more properties from our props object. One is on delete and the other is on like. So these are function references, as you know. Now here, instead of calling this.handle like, we're going to call on like. And similarly, on delete. I believe we're done with this component. Now let's use it. So back in movies component, this is where we should use it. So movies table, and of course we need to import it on the top. You can see we no longer need the like component here because it's grayed out. In fact, we need this in our movies table component. So let's cut this line and paste it here. Now back in movies component, on the top, let's import movies table from the current folder, movies table module. And finally, let's initialize it. Here's our movies table. We should pass our movies as well as handlers for on like and on delete events. So this.handle like and on delete equals this.handle delete. Save the changes. Now look at the output of our movies component. We have our grid layout, and in this grid layout, we have high-level components like list group, movies table, and pagination. All these components are at the same level of abstraction. We don't have a mixture of high-level components and low-level components, or more accurately, elements. So our code is cleaner here, the intent is more clear. We don't have to scroll up and down to see what's going on here. All right, now that we have our movies table, we need to add sorting to each of these columns. And that's what we're going to do next.